Hey everyone! If you enjoy these stories and want the full uncensored versions with much hotter exclusive content, be sure to check out my Patreon. There are already over 850 stories available, with new parts released every day. You can also submit your own ideas and vote in polls to decide what stories come next. Right now, poll number 29 is active on Patreon***, and the results will decide which stories are released on both YouTube and Patreon. This story was chosen through that poll as well. Patreon also gets at least 3 exclusive stories every week that will never be posted on YouTube, plus many additional chapters and extended versions you won't find anywhere else. All links are in the description and pinned comment. Subscribe, stay connected, and enjoy the story. The night air in Konoha was cold, but the chill inside Naruto Uzumaki ran much deeper. He sat alone in the ruins of an old watchtower on the outskirts of the village, the ancient scroll unrolled across his lap. Moonlight filtered through broken beams, casting long shadows over the faded ink. For hours he had read and reread the same passages, each word cutting into him like a kunai. The scroll told a story no one had ever dared speak aloud. The Uzumaki clan had not simply faded away. They had been hunted. Konoha's leadership, including figures close to the 4th Hokage, his own father, had made decisions that led to the clan's isolation and eventual destruction. Fear of their sealing techniques and vitality had turned allies into executioners. Naruto's hands trembled as he traced the names of people he would never meet. His mother's clan. His heritage. Gone because of politics and fear. Why? He whispered into the darkness. His voice cracked. I fought for this village. I wanted to be Hokage. I wanted to protect everyone. And they erased us. The Kyuubi's chakra stirred inside his seal, responding to the storm of emotions. For the first time, Naruto did not push it away. He let the anger and pain mix with the fox's rage. Something inside him broke. I won't let it end like this, he said louder now. If they destroyed my clan, I'll bring it back. I'll make sure the Uzumaki name is feared and respected again. I'll repopulate it myself if I have to. The thought should have horrified him. He was only 13. But in that moment of raw madness and grief, it felt like the only path left. His mind raced with images of a new clan, strong, united, loyal. A family that would never betray him. He stood up, scroll clutched tightly in his hand. There was no going back to the village tonight. Not after what he had learned. Naruto began walking. He didn't have a clear destination, only a vague pull toward the mountains beyond the land of fire. The scroll mentioned old Uzumaki outposts and hidden temples. Perhaps there were more answers out there. As he traveled through the night and into the following day, his thoughts never stopped. He remembered every time the villagers had glared at him. Every time they whispered about the demon fox. Now he understood why the hatred ran so deep. It wasn't just the Kyuubi. It was his blood. They were afraid of us, he thought bitterly. Afraid of what we could do. So they wiped us out and smiled while doing it. By the second day, exhaustion began to set in, but Naruto pushed forward. He survived on wild berries and river water, his determination stronger than his fatigue. On the third evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, he felt it, a faint, ancient chakra signature hidden deep within a forested mountain range. Following the pull, he discovered a narrow path overgrown with vines. At the end stood the entrance to an ancient temple, half buried in moss and stone. The architecture was unmistakably Uzumaki, spirals carved into the pillars, faded red paint still clinging to some surfaces. Naruto's heart pounded as he stepped inside. Dust coated everything. Old lanterns hung from the ceiling, long since burned out. He moved carefully through the main hall until he reached a sealed chamber at the back. The seal was weak with age. With a surge of chakra, he broke it. Inside, resting on a stone pedestal, lay a thick leather-bound journal. Naruto approached it slowly. The cover was engraved with the Uzumaki spiral. With trembling hands, he opened it. The first pages spoke of the clan's history, their origins, their sealing arts, their vitality. Then came the section that made his breath catch. It described a hidden power unique to male Uzumaki. Their bodies produced a special chakra-infused essence that could overwhelm the minds of non-Uzumaki females through intense pleasure. The effect was described as mind-shattering, turning even the strongest women into devoted, loyal beings. Only Uzumaki women were naturally immune. The journal warned that this power was dangerous and should only be used in the direst circumstances for the survival of the clan. Naruto read the passage 3 times. His face grew hot. Part of him felt ashamed. Another part, the part born from betrayal and loneliness, felt a dark excitement. This is how I can rebuild everything, he thought. If I can make powerful women loyal to me, they can help bring back the clan. Further in the journal, he found 3 complex rituals inscribed on what appeared to be a replica of the Shinigami mask. The rituals were designed to summon 3 powerful female deities: Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun; Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty; and Kaguya, the rabbit goddess. The journal noted that these beings possessed immense power, and could serve as the foundation for a new bloodline if properly bound. Naruto sat on the stone floor for a long time, staring at the rituals. Doubt crept in. Could he really do this? Was he insane for even considering it? But then the memories returned, the cold stares, the destroyed records, the knowledge that his own father had allowed it to happen. He made his decision. That night, under the light of a full moon filtering through cracks in the ceiling, Naruto prepared the first ritual. He drew the intricate circle with his own blood mixed with chakra. He placed the mask replica in the center, and began the long incantation written in the journal. The air grew thick and heavy. The temperature dropped sharply. Blue and purple energy crackled around the circle. Naruto poured every ounce of his will into the ritual, thinking only of his clan, his pain, and his desperate need. The ground trembled. A massive rift tore open in the center of the chamber, swirling with divine light. From within stepped a tall, breathtaking figure. Kaguya. Her presence filled the entire room. She was impossibly beautiful. Pale skin that seemed to glow from within, long flowing white hair that moved as if underwater, 2 elegant horns curving from her head, and striking red eyes that held the weight of countless ages. Her white robes clung to a perfect, mature figure with full chest, a slim waist, and long graceful legs. She looked down at the small boy standing before her, surprise flickering across her divine face. "A mortal child has performed the ancient rite?" Her voice was calm, melodic, yet carried an ancient power that made the air vibrate. "Uzumaki blood runs strong in you. I can feel it." Naruto swallowed hard but forced himself to stand straight. "I summoned you because I need help. My clan was destroyed. Betrayed by the very people I once wanted to protect. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to repopulate the Uzumaki clan, and I need powerful women to stand beside me." Kaguya's red eyes studied him for a long moment. She could see the pain, the madness, and the burning determination in his young face. For eons she had watched mortals scheme and struggle. This boy's raw ambition and the strange, potent energy radiating from him stirred something deep within her, a perversion she had kept buried even from herself across millennia. "Repopulate your clan by binding goddesses?" she asked, a faint, intrigued smile forming on her lips. "You are either incredibly brave or completely mad. Perhaps both." Naruto didn't flinch. "I don't have time to be careful anymore. If you help me, if you become mine, we can create something new. Something that will never be erased again." Kaguya took a slow step closer. The journal's power was already beginning to affect her. She could feel a strange warmth spreading through her immortal body, clouding the edges of her ancient mind. "You speak of binding me," she said softly. "Yet your words carry a weight I have not felt in a very long time. Show me, little Uzumaki. Show me why I should follow you instead of simply destroying you where you stand." The tension in the chamber thickened. Naruto's heart hammered in his chest, but he did not back down. He stepped toward the goddess, reaching out with one hand. Kaguya watched his approach without moving away. The ancient stone chamber seemed to grow warmer as Naruto closed the distance between them. Kaguya stood perfectly still, her red eyes fixed on the boy. For the first time in countless years, she felt something resembling nervousness mixed with anticipation. Naruto's hand touched her pale cheek. Her skin was cool and impossibly smooth. Kaguya's breath caught, a small, involuntary reaction that surprised even her. "You carry pain that even gods would find heavy," she murmured. "And yet you burn with such purpose." Naruto looked up at her. "I don't want to be alone anymore. I want a family. A real clan. Will you help me?" Kaguya's lips parted slightly. The Uzumaki energy radiating from him was affecting her more strongly now. A faint blush colored her cheeks. This feeling, it has been so long. Why does this child's touch make my thoughts grow hazy? She leaned down slowly and pressed her lips to his. The kiss started gentle but quickly deepened. Kaguya's long white hair fell around them like a curtain, shielding them from the rest of the world. Her tongue brushed against his, and she tasted something addictive. Power mixed with raw emotion. Naruto's hands moved to her waist, pulling her closer. Kaguya responded by wrapping her arms around him, her divine body pressing against his smaller frame. She could feel the heat of his skin through his clothes. When they finally broke the kiss, Kaguya's eyes were half-lidded, her breathing slightly uneven. Your power! It calls to something inside me I thought long buried. Naruto guided her toward the wide stone altar at the center of the chamber. Kaguya allowed herself to be led. She sat on the edge of the altar and watched as he removed his jacket and shirt. Her gaze lingered on his body, young, but already marked by hardship and carrying the unmistakable aura of the Uzumaki. She reached out and helped him remove the rest of his clothing. When his throbbing wand was revealed, hard and pulsing with strange energy, Kaguya's eyes widened slightly. The journal had not exaggerated. Kaguya slowly removed her own robes. They slipped from her shoulders and pulled at her feet, revealing her perfect, ageless form. Her full chest rose and fell with each breath. Her long legs parted slightly as she sat back on the altar. Naruto stepped between her thighs. He kissed her neck, then lower, taking one of her sensitive buttons into his mouth. Kaguya let out a soft, melodic moan, a sound no mortal had ever drawn from her. Her hands threaded through his spiky hair as pleasure sparked through her divine nerves. My mind, it is becoming difficult to think clearly, she realized. Every touch from him sends waves through me. I should resist, yet I only want more. Naruto continued his exploration, kissing down her stomach until he reached the apex of her thighs. He licked her slowly, tasting her growing arousal. Kaguya's back arched. She grew louder, echoing off the stone walls. Her long legs trembled around his head. Want the full uncensored 18+ scene? Only $4 on Patreon, 850+ scorching hot episodes. When he finally positioned himself and pushed inside, Kaguya gasped loudly. The sensation of being filled by the Uzumaki power was overwhelming. Naruto, she breathed, using his name for the first time. Her red eyes were glassy, her perfect face flushed. It feels too much, and not enough. Naruto began to move. Each thrust sent fresh waves of mind-numbing pleasure through Kaguya. Her thoughts dissolved further with every stroke. I am being claimed by this boy, and I do not wish to fight it. Want the full uncensored 18+ scene? Only $4 on Patreon. She cried out, her voice breaking with ecstasy. Naruto did not stop. He continued thrusting. When Naruto finally reached his peak, she screamed his name, her divine body shaking violently as the first permanent cracks formed in her ancient will. They remained connected for a long time afterward. Kaguya gently stroked his hair, her expression soft and strangely peaceful. The bond between them had taken root. Guys, please don't forget to hit that like button and drop a comment if you enjoyed it. It means the world to me and gives me a huge boost of motivation. Your support keeps me going. Morning light crept slowly through the cracks in the ancient temple walls, painting golden lines across the stone floor. Naruto Uzumaki opened his eyes and stared at the ceiling for a long time. He was only 16, yet last night he had taken the first real step toward rebuilding everything that had been stolen from him. The rabbit goddess herself now lay beside him. Kaguya's tall, elegant body was curled against his side. Her long white hair spilled across his chest like a river of silk. Even in sleep, her face looked different, softer, almost peaceful. The cold, distant goddess who had arrived through the rift yesterday now seemed almost human in her vulnerability. Naruto's mind was racing. She really submitted to me. A being who lived for thousands of years. The journal was right. This power, it's terrifying. But it's also the only chance I have. He gently brushed a strand of hair from her face. I can't afford to be weak anymore. Not after what they did to my clan. Kaguya stirred. Her red eyes fluttered open. For a few seconds she simply looked at him, and then a deep blush spread across her pale cheeks as the memories of the previous night returned. She sat up slowly, making no attempt to cover her naked body. Her full chest rose and fell with each breath. You're awake, Naruto said quietly. Yes. Kaguya's voice was softer than before, almost reverent. She looked down at her own hands as if seeing them for the first time. What happened last night? It was not something I expected. My mind feels altered, as if parts of me have been rewritten. Naruto sat up as well. He reached for the old journal lying nearby and opened it to the pages he had studied most carefully. I need to explain everything to you properly. You deserve to understand what's happening. He began speaking in detail. He told her about the scroll he had found in the ruins, about the betrayal of his clan by Konoha and even by his own father. He described the pain of learning that everything he had believed in was built on lies. Then he moved to the journal itself. The Uzumaki clan had a hidden power. Naruto explained. Male members could break the minds of non-Uzumaki women through overwhelming pleasure. It didn't just feel good. It rewired their thoughts, made them loyal, made them need it. Only women with Uzumaki blood were immune. My ancestors used it carefully, but in desperate times it became a tool for survival. Kaguya listened without interrupting. Her red eyes stayed fixed on him, but inside her mind thoughts were swirling violently. For countless ages I have watched mortals rise and fall. I have seen empires crumble and gods fade. Yet this child, this boy with orange hair and pain in his eyes, has done something no one else ever has. He touched something inside me that I thought was long dead. The pleasure he gave me was not ordinary. It reached my very core. I should be furious. I should destroy him for daring to lay hands on a goddess. But instead, I want more. I want to stay by his side. What has he done to me? Naruto continued, his voice steady despite his young age. I don't want to use this power just for revenge. I want to rebuild the Uzumaki clan. Make it so strong that no one can ever destroy us again. I need help. Powerful help. That's why I summoned you. Kaguya was silent for a long time. She reached out and gently touched the journal, her fingers tracing the old ink. I have lived through eras where entire civilizations worshipped me or feared me. I have known loneliness that would break most beings. When you summoned me, I felt something different. Your chakra carried desperation, but also a strange purity. And when you took me, it was as if my entire existence narrowed down to that moment. She looked at him directly. I will help you, Naruto Uzumaki. Not because I am forced to, but because something inside me now wishes to. The pleasure you gave me has created a bond one cannot ignore. Naruto felt a strange warmth in his chest. She's really on my side now. This is actually happening. They spent the next few hours exploring the temple together. Kaguya used her power to repair some of the crumbling seals and create a protective barrier around the area so they would not be disturbed. While she worked, Naruto watched her. Even doing something as simple as reinforcing ancient runes, she moved with divine grace. Yet every time their eyes met, she would blush slightly and look away. During one quiet moment, while Kaguya was strengthening a barrier, Naruto asked her something personal. What was it like? Being alone for so long? Kaguya paused. Her back was turned to him, but her voice carried clearly. Imagine existing when the world was young. Watching stars be born and die. Creating life, only to see it turn against you or fade away. I had sons once, but they became my enemies. I have known power beyond measure, yet I have also known an emptiness that never truly leaves. Last night, that emptiness felt smaller for the first time in eons. Naruto didn't know what to say at first. He simply walked over and placed a hand on her back. Kaguya leaned into the touch without hesitation. This boy understands loss, she thought. Even at his age, he carries the weight of a destroyed clan. Perhaps that is why his power affected me so deeply. We are both survivors of betrayal. By midday they returned to the main chamber. Naruto sat cross-legged on the floor while Kaguya knelt beside him. They began discussing the next step. I want to summon Aphrodite next, Naruto said. The journal says her domain is love and desire. If the Uzumaki power works on her the way it worked on you, Kaguya nodded, she will be vulnerable to it. Aphrodite thrives on passion. The pleasure you can give will likely overwhelm her quickly. I can help prepare the ritual. My knowledge of dimensional rifts and divine summoning will make the process safer and more stable. They spent hours going over the details. Kaguya explained the differences between summoning a goddess like herself and one like Aphrodite. She warned Naruto about possible resistance and how to handle it. Naruto asked many questions, and Kaguya answered each one patiently, sometimes even adding small stories from her long life to illustrate her points. As the sun began to set again, the atmosphere in the temple changed. The conversation grew quieter, more intimate. Kaguya kept stealing glances at Naruto. Her body still remembered the night before, and the memory made her skin warm. The candles Kaguya had created earlier were the only light in the chamber. She stood before Naruto completely bare, her pale skin glowing softly. Her long white hair framed her face and cascaded down her back. She looked at him with a mixture of divine grace and clear, growing need. Naruto stepped forward and placed his hands on her waist. He pulled her close and kissed her deeply. Kaguya responded immediately, wrapping her arms around him. Her tall frame bent slightly to meet him. This time the prelude was even slower and more deliberate than the night before. Naruto took his time exploring her body. His hands moved over her full melons, gently squeezing and teasing her sensitive buttons until they hardened. Kaguya let out soft, breathy moans, her head tilting back. Every touch from him sends sparks through me. My thoughts are becoming harder to hold on to. I do not want to hold on to them. He kissed down her neck, then lower, taking one of her sensitive buttons into his mouth. Kaguya's hands moved to his hair, holding him there. Her breathing grew heavier. Naruto continued downward, kissing her stomach, then kneeling between her legs. He used his tongue on her most sensitive place, moving slowly and carefully at first. Kaguya's legs trembled. Naruto, ah! Her voice was no longer the calm, regal tone of a goddess. It was needy and shaky. Her mind was clouding rapidly. This pleasure, it is rewriting me. I can feel my resistance fading with every passing second. Want the full uncensored 18+ scene? Only $4 on Patreon, 850+ scorching hot episodes. Naruto stood and guided her to the altar. He laid her down gently and positioned himself between her thighs. Kaguya looked up at him with hazy red eyes, her cheeks flushed pink. She reached down and guided him inside. The moment he entered, Kaguya moaned loudly. The Uzumaki power surged stronger than before. Each thrust sent overwhelming waves of ecstasy through her body. Want the full uncensored 18+ scene? Only $4 on Patreon. Kaguya's thoughts became increasingly fragmented. I am a goddess, yet I am being taken by a mortal child, and I love it. I want him to keep going. I want to be his completely. When he finally released deep inside, Kaguya cried out and held him tightly. The pleasure was so intense that her mind went completely blank for several seconds. When clarity returned, she looked at him with soft, submissive eyes. Master, she whispered again, the word coming even more naturally than before. They stayed connected for a long time. Kaguya gently stroked his back, her breathing slowly returning to normal. The last major walls in her mind had crumbled. She was his now, fully and willingly. Afterward, they remained on the altar together. Kaguya rested her head on Naruto's chest, listening to his heartbeat. Neither of them spoke for a while. The silence was comfortable. Eventually Kaguya broke it. Tomorrow we will prepare the ritual for Aphrodite. I will make sure everything is perfect. I want to help you build this new future. Naruto nodded. He ran his fingers through her long white hair. Thank you for choosing to stay with me. Kaguya closed her eyes. I did not simply choose. Something inside me needed this. Needed him. The loneliness of ages has finally found an anchor. Outside the temple, the night was peaceful. Inside, a new chapter of the Uzumaki clan had truly begun. Guys, please don't forget to hit that like button and drop a comment if you enjoyed it. It means the world to me and gives me a huge boost of motivation. Your support keeps me going. The ancient temple had become their sanctuary. Morning light no longer reached the deepest chamber where the summoning circle now lay, but the glowing seals provided a soft, otherworldly illumination. Naruto Uzumaki sat cross-legged on a cushion Kaguya had conjured, the old Uzumaki journal open on his lap. His small fingers traced the faded ink as he read the same passages for the third time that day. This power, it's real. I can feel it inside me, growing stronger every time I touch them. Kaguya already belongs to me. Soon Aphrodite will too. And then Amaterasu. They'll help me bring the Uzumaki back. No one will ever betray us again. He glanced up. Kaguya stood nearby, completely naked as she often was now, her pale body moving gracefully while she adjusted the ritual components. Her long white hair swayed with each movement, and her red eyes occasionally flicked toward him with quiet devotion. She was no longer the distant, terrifying goddess who had arrived through the rift yesterday. She was his. Kaguya's thoughts were a quiet storm as she worked. I lived for countless ages in loneliness. I watched mortals destroy each other, felt nothing but cold amusement. Yet this boy, this small Uzumaki child, has awakened something in me I thought long dead. The pleasure he gives me is unlike anything I have known. It makes me want to kneel. It makes me want to obey. Is this what it means to be truly alive? She finished placing the final blood-infused crystals and walked over to Naruto. Without hesitation she knelt beside him, her cool hand resting gently on his thigh. You have been reading for hours, master. Your eyes look tired. Naruto closed the journal slowly. I need to understand everything. The ritual for Aphrodite is much more complicated than yours was. If I mess it up... You will not mess it up, Kaguya said softly, leaning closer. Her full chest brushed against his arm. I will lend you my power. Together we are stronger than any single goddess. Naruto turned to look at her. For a moment he simply stared at her perfect face, the small horns, the glowing red eyes, the lips that had wrapped around him so eagerly the night before. A flicker of guilt passed through him. She was a goddess. An ancient being. And now she calls me master. Is this right? But the memory of Konoha's betrayal, the faces of people who smiled while hiding the truth about his clan, pushed the guilt away. They took everything from me. I'm just taking back what's mine. He reached out and cupped Kaguya's cheek. She leaned into the touch like a loyal pet, a soft sigh escaping her lips. Thank you for choosing to stay with me. Kaguya's red eyes softened. I did not choose at first. Your power chose for me. But now, I choose it willingly. Every time you fill me, every time the pleasure breaks another piece of my old self, I feel more complete. They stayed like that for a while, simply touching. Kaguya's fingers traced lazy circles on his bare chest while Naruto let his mind wander. He thought about the future, a clan of his own blood, strong daughters and loyal mothers, all bound to him through this ancient gift. He imagined walking back into Konoha one day, not as the loud, ignored orphan, but as something far greater. By late afternoon they began the final preparations. Kaguya used her chakra to reinforce the temple walls once more, creating barriers that would hide their presence from the outside world. Naruto carefully drew the larger, more intricate summoning circle according to the journal's instructions. The air grew heavy with anticipation. When everything was ready, Naruto stood at the center. Kaguya positioned herself behind him, her hands on his shoulders, lending him her immense power. Begin, she whispered. Naruto cut his palm. Blood dripped into the circle. He channeled his chakra, now mixed with Kaguya's, through the faded copy of the Shinigami mask. The temperature in the chamber dropped, then rose sharply. A golden pink rift tore open in the air, far more dramatic than the one that had brought Kaguya. From within stepped Aphrodite. She was breathtaking. Golden waves of hair cascaded down her back, catching the light of the seals like liquid sunlight. Her skin glowed with a warm, sun-kissed hue. Voluptuous curves filled out her translucent robes, full, heavy chest that strained against the thin fabric, a narrow waist that flared into wide, fertile hips, and long, smooth legs. Her pink eyes, deep and captivating, scanned the chamber with a mixture of confusion and growing wariness. Who dares summon the goddess of love in this forgotten place? Her voice was rich and melodic, yet carried clear authority. Naruto stepped forward, Kaguya remaining close behind him like a shadow. He told her everything. The destruction of the Uzumaki clan. The betrayal by Konoha. His desperate decision to rebuild his bloodline no matter the cost. He spoke of the journal, the ancient power of Uzumaki males, and his vow that only his clan would survive in the end. Kaguya added her own voice, calm and persuasive. She spoke of the loneliness of immortality, and how Naruto's touch had given her something she had never known, true, overwhelming sensation. Aphrodite listened in silence, her perfect brows drawn together. As the minutes stretched into an hour, the Uzumaki aura in the room began to affect her. She found her gaze lingering on Naruto longer than it should. Every time he moved closer, a strange warmth spread through her divine body. Her buttons tightened beneath the robes. A subtle ache began between her thighs. This is impossible, she thought to herself. I am Aphrodite. Desire bends to my will, not the other way around. Yet this boy, his presence pulls at me like the tide. His words carry pain so raw it almost hurts to hear. And that woman, Kaguya, she looks at him with such devotion. What has he done to her? The conversation continued deep into the night. Naruto answered her questions about the human world, about Konoha, about the pain of being alone. Aphrodite found herself asking more and more, genuinely curious. Kaguya occasionally touched her arm or shoulder in passing, each contact sending small sparks of pleasure through the love goddess. By the time the candles Kaguya had conjured burned low, Aphrodite's resistance had visibly weakened. Her cheeks carried a faint pink flush. Her breathing had grown slightly uneven. Naruto took a step closer. "Will you help me?" Aphrodite looked down at him. This small, determined boy who had somehow summoned two goddesses and bound one completely. She opened her mouth to refuse, but the words would not come. Kaguya moved behind her, gently sliding the translucent robes from Aphrodite's shoulders. The goddess did not stop her. The chamber felt warmer now, filled with the mingled scents of roses, ancient stone, and rising arousal. Aphrodite stood naked before them, her divine body on full display. Her breasts were large and heavy, tipped with rosy buttons that had already hardened. Her waist curved gracefully into wide hips made for bearing children. Between her thighs, a neat patch of golden curls glistened faintly with growing wetness. Naruto approached slowly. He reached up, she was taller than him, and placed his hands on her waist. Aphrodite shivered at the contact. "His hands are so small, yet they burn like fire on my skin." Kaguya stepped close as well, pressing her cool, pale body against Aphrodite's back. She leaned down and whispered against the goddess's ear. "Feel it. The power that already claimed me. It will claim you too, and you will thank him for it." Naruto pulled Aphrodite down into a kiss. It started gentle, almost hesitant on his part, but Aphrodite responded with growing hunger. Her lips were soft and warm, tasting faintly of honey and wine. As they kissed, Kaguya's hands roamed over Aphrodite's body from behind, cupping her heavy breasts and pinching her buttons lightly. Aphrodite moaned into Naruto's mouth. "This is wrong. I should resist, but it feels so good. His chakra is flooding me." Every touch is amplified. They moved together to the pile of soft cushions Kaguya had prepared earlier. Aphrodite was laid down on her back, golden hair spreading around her like a halo. Naruto climbed over her, continuing to kiss her deeply while his hands explored. He squeezed her full melons, feeling their weight, then lowered his head to take one rosy button into his mouth. Aphrodite arched with a sharp gasp. Kaguya knelt beside them, watching with glowing red eyes. One of her hands slipped between her own legs as she observed. Naruto kissed his way down Aphrodite's body, worshipping every curve. He licked along the underside of her melons, traced over her stomach, and finally settled between thighs. The goddess of love was already dripping. He licked slowly. Aphrodite's hips jerked. What are you, oh?" Her voice broke into a moan as Naruto found her clit and sucked gently. Waves of pleasure unlike anything she had experienced in millennia crashed through her. "This boy, he knows exactly how to touch me. My body is betraying me completely." Kaguya leaned down and captured Aphrodite's mouth in a deep kiss, swallowing her moans while Naruto continued his worship. Aphrodite's thighs trembled around. Want the full uncensored 18+ scene? Only $4 on Patreon, 850+ scorching hot episodes. "Please," she whispered, surprising even herself. "I need to feel it." Naruto pushed forward slowly. Inch by inch he sank into. Aphrodite's eyes widened, then rolled back slightly as the overwhelming pleasure of the Uzumaki power surged through her. It was unlike any mortal or divine lover she had ever taken. Want the full uncensored 18+ scene? Only $4 on Patreon. "It's breaking me," Aphrodite thought desperately, even as her legs wrapped around Naruto's waist to pull him deeper. "This pleasure, it's rewriting me. I was the goddess of love. Now I am his." Want the full uncensored 18+ scene? Only $4 on Patreon, 850+ scorching hot episodes. She lay beneath him afterward, panting heavily, golden hair in disarray. Her pink eyes, once filled with divine pride, now looked up at Naruto with soft, submissive devotion. "Master," she whispered, the word tasting strange and right on her tongue. Kaguya smiled and gently stroked Aphrodite's hair. "Welcome, sister."